Hello everyone, welcome to this week's weekly market view for Monday the 23rd of Jan to Friday the 27th of Jan 2023. My name is Vishal. Let's get started. Let's start with the Nifty chart and let's do a top-down approach starting with the monthly chart. So let's zoom into the monthly chart now and let's look at some key levels on the monthly chart. So as we can clearly see that we had a little bit of a bearish candle and now we are more or less hovering or consolidating into this area. Another reason also is that we have a very big event coming up, which is the union budget, and probably markets are going to remain consolidated before the big announcement and the market takes direction. But let us try and gauge that even before the news comes out, what are the charts telling us, whether the markets are going to consolidate, whether they're going to remain sideways, or they're going to probably break to the upside or even break to the downside. So right now the market, what it's doing is it's trying to take a little bit of a support at these levels over here from where the market had initially given us a breakout. And if you closely observe, the monthly candle has just closed right at this support line. Now what we could conclude from here is that if the market, or if there is good news in the budget, the market trend can move up, and this red candle, which is the current monthly candle, it is not yet closed because a month is still there and still going on. It'll be very interesting to see how this monthly candle also closes. It has given us a little bit of a bearish pressure to the downside, but it has also held on to the lows, right? So let us see in the coming weeks or in the coming days how this candle closes based on the monthly chart. Let's go on to the weekly chart, and on the weekly, this level of demand has been holding for weeks now, right? And there have been multiple touches to this level, once, twice, 3, 4 times. And if you observe this is the entire phase of the market before the budget, right? I mean, look at how the markets have just consolidated for nearly 4 weeks, forming nearly 2 indecision candles here, which means that the market is more or less taking a bit of a pause before it wants to either rally very strongly to the upside or might even want to break to the downside. So what can happen right now at these levels is we have something which is called as a drop, and then we have a base, right? So this can convert into, let's say, a potential area of supply if we have a kind of a break to the downside, or the same area can be a drop, base, and a rally in price. So it's going to be a little bit of a guesstimation to see what that happens. But if you closely observe the candlestick patterns right over here, whenever you have an indecision more or less at demand, these are more or less signs of accumulation, which means market should be heading to the upside. At least that is what the patterns are suggesting us. All right, let's move on to the daily chart now, and let us see what the daily chart is telling us. And on the daily chart, we are seeing a lot of struggle. I mean, if you can look over here, this entire price action over here is just been consolidating right here, right from the start, from where this supply started and when the markets actually gave the first fall. We are still into this area. So what I'm perceiving is that for the coming week, we are going to be seeing another consolidation by the time the budget comes. And I think that there is a possibility that market is going to more or less remain range bound between 17,838, 17,641 and 18,272, 18,456, at least up to the budget. Then maybe after the budget, the market might either break to the upside or then might break to the downside. But this is a very strong consolidation, and usually markets don't remain in a consolidation for a very long period. They generally either tend to break out or they tend to break down. If you look at the volatility analysis, volatility is comparatively very low right now, and this is a very unusual scenario because in an event like a budget, we would expect volatility to increase. Maybe coming week we might see this red line inching up, which will indicate that the option premiums and the expectations of people are rising. But at the moment right now, expectations are very low. Could be a possibility that maybe markets are not expecting too much from this year's budget, and that is why the premiums are low. But of course, this could eventually change in the coming week, and we could see a rise in premiums as we come closer to the budget. All right, let's move on to the intraday charts now. Let's move on first to um, the 30-minute chart, and let's try to see and identify some key levels of demand and supply. So right now, if you look at the 30-minute chart, it is just, these are the two daily supply zones and demand zones that are more or less where market is consolidating. And if you look at every time the market has come closer to these lows of 17,800 odd levels, market has taken a support and given a bounce from these levels. So if you just draw a horizontal line over here, you will notice that there is a possibility that if the market comes back to this area, there is one more possibility that we might see another rise in price or a consolidation in price. Now, if we look at these levels over here, these all levels are within this consolidation, right? So if you look at, there are not many good supply zones or there are not many good demand zones, although these levels could still play out. Like for example, we have this level over here, which is a rally based rally. So this is also a pretty strong level. It has moved out nice and strong. And on the supply side, we do not have any quality levels within this area. We do have this level over here, but again, this is not really a great level. But what is more interesting to see is that we have some better levels at the top, especially if you look at this level over here, which is this drop based drop area. So this is going to be an area to watch out for in case if the market starts moving to the upside. And then we obviously have this pro gap level, which is also going to be of consideration. So I would keep a close watch on these key levels in the weeks to come, and traders can be a little watchful on these areas before planning any trade setups. So this is the setup on the Nifty. Now also let's quickly have a look at the open interest chart. So I'm just going to get the OI stats over here for you, and because this is the last week of expiry for the month, let's also try and study the open interest data. So on Friday, we saw a huge rise in open interest on the calls, and that means markets are not expecting for the price to move to the upside. But can their prices move above 18,100? Surely yes. SGX Nifty currently is indicating 18,127. So it's already indicating that markets are going to be trading well above 18,127 on SGX Nifty. Would that translate into our markets also gapping up very, very strongly? We will have to see that on Monday morning. But in case if the market starts to trade above 18,100 and it maintains that 18,100, then you will see a lot of these call writers trying to save their positions and trying to unwind their positions, creating a huge room for the market to jump towards 18,200 and eventually move towards 18,500 levels. So currently right now what the open interest data is suggesting that 18,100 is a strong barrier for the market, but in case if 18,100 breaks to the upside, then we might see levels of 18,200 or even 18,500 very, very easily. On the downside, you can see that there is a little bit of a support. There is some put writing happening at 18,000, and as I mentioned to you earlier, 17,800 is a crucial level. So markets are going to treat 17,800 and 18,100 for the levels to watch out for in the coming week, and watch out for 18,200 and 18,500 in case the market breaks to the upside. Let's look at Bank Nifty now. And Bank Nifty has been more or less the leader of the pack. And when let's remove all the, maybe we can just keep all the tools, doesn't matter, but let's remove this for the timing right now. So this is how the Bank Nifty monthly chart is looking like, and if you closely watch, if I just plot a horizontal line on the top of the highs here you can clearly see that this was a very, very strong resistance point. Market broke up, closed above this resistance point, giving you more kind of a feeling that Bank Nifty was the stronger than the lot in terms of the indexes. and here market is taking support very similar to the support that it is taking on the Nifty. Now what does this translate into? This could translate into a couple of things. Right now on the monthly chart we are seeing a more or less a pattern being formed, right? We already have this rally demand, right? So this is a very strong level of demand to watch out for. But now let's move on to the weekly chart and let us see if we can break this into something very interesting. So right now what we are seeing is Bank Nifty is also taking help of this demand zone on the weekly chart, and if it continues to hold on to this level of demand, we are more or less going to start seeing a rise in the Bank Nifty as well in the coming weeks. Every time when the market has come towards the 42,000 level, markets have risen and risen very strongly. So without a doubt 42,000 level is going to act as a very strong support. Even for the on the day of the budget, that's going to be a level to watch out for. So in case if the market dips nearly 500-600 points towards 42,000 levels, we might see a spurt, or we might see a rise in prices again from the Bank Nifty levels, right? Let's move on to the daily chart and let's gauge what the daily chart is telling us. So on the daily chart we are again seeing a very similar consolidation. But what is interesting to know also is that although Bank Nifty gave us a strong reaction from this daily supply zone after consolidating for a very long time, it is also taking help and a little bit of a support of this drop based rally demand zone. And look how many times the price is also tested, right? So can there be a easy path for Bank Nifty to travel towards 43,000 level again? It can, and it might in this week. At least what is price action is suggesting that markets are taking help of this level of demand and want to push to the upside. So we might see a little bit of positiveness in this week than any kind of bearishness. At least that is what the charts are telling us. On the volatility side, volatility is not very deflated, but it is deflated. It means again that option premiums are cheap, and one should not be indulging into selling options at least till the volatility increases, right? So because of anticipation, because of expectations, a lot of options traders will be selling options, and then they will probably close their positions once the budget is announced. But right now volatility is suggesting कि options जो है वो काफ़ी सस्ते हैं, तो option selling से थोड़ा सा हमें दूर रहना है. Options buying or creating some kind of a debit strategy or debit spreads will be a good idea in this kind of a market, right? Alright, let's move on to the intraday charts now. Let's move on to the 30-minute chart and let us see what the 30-minute levels of Bank Nifty are suggesting, right? So on the 30 minutes, if we closely observe and if we just draw a thin line in the sand here you can see 42,000. Yeah, so these were the lows of from where, and if you just move over here, this was that level of demand where market took a little bit of a support, and now it has given a pretty strong bounce. And then you can see multiple times the market has come down here, but now it is also creating a little bit of a higher low formation and trying to inch a little bit higher. So some of the levels or some of the key levels to watch out for in the coming week will be this supply zone over here, drop area located around 43,200. And then obviously if the market does break to the upside, then we have some interesting levels. That is one level over here, which is this 43,800 level. Yeah, but that's obviously going to be a little bit too optimistic in case if the markets do break the level. On the demand side, there is really no good level of demand. If the market does fall based on the entire price analogy, or you might call it the price psychology, 42,000 is going to be acting as a very strong support for the market. Let us see now what is the open interest data telling us on Bank Nifty for the coming week. Let's look at Bank Nifty now. And if you look at Bank Nifty open interest data, we have 42,500 significant call writing, and we also see significant put writing at the same levels. So there is a fight between the bulls and the bears, But obviously, depending upon where the market opens on Monday, this can easily convert into something different. Right now, let's try and understand that in case if the market does break or starts to trade or begins to trade above 42,500, then the call writers who have significantly written calls above 42,500 will have to start buying to cover their positions. And usually when that happens is there is a huge or there's a big short covering that comes into the market, which will take the prices easily towards 43,000 levels. So it wouldn't be very surprising for us to see 43,000 levels coming in this week, but market is going to take a very strong support, as I've already clearly mentioned to you that 42,000 level is going to be a very crucial level for the market. So for this week, we are expecting the markets to move in a range of close to around 1000 points. If anything significant happens, markets could break out to the upside, but 42,000 to 43,000 is going to be the range for the coming week on Bank Nifty. So since this week we have the quarterly earnings, we have some key announcements being made tomorrow on some companies, starting with Canara Bank, Axis Bank, and also Tata Communication. So let's quickly have a look at these three charts to just see what. Let's start off with Canara Bank, since Canara Bank is announcing its results tomorrow. Let's get Let me just remove all the tools here. So let's start with the monthly chart of Canara Bank, and as you can see, Canara Bank has moved up strongly from the lows and now it's coming into this area. This is going to be a little bit of an interesting area to watch out for as it's coming closer and closer, so we might just want to gauge this on a slightly higher time frame. So let's go to the weekly chart now, and on the weekly chart we do see this level over here. So any kind of good news might just spurt up Canara Bank to these levels, and also because Bank Nifty is more likely to move to the upside, we might see this level being tested on Canara Bank. If we look at the have a look at the daily chart, surprisingly volatility is pretty low. That means market is not expecting a lot from the results of Canara Bank. But if we just get a little bit deeper into this area of supply, let's try to see if we can see something. Oh, there's nothing here. This weekly supply. So markets are taking help of this area of demand. Came into this area, now forming this new. Will be something interesting around this area here, so maybe we can just quickly go and check. So let's go to the 60-minute chart. Maybe there is something within this area here. I don't see a clear area, but let's give it 125 minutes. Yeah, so very subtle level over here, and more or less it's taken a nice strong move to the upside. So in case if the market does come down, 298 to 294 level is a area from where we can expect to see a bounce coming into Canara Bank. And of course to the upside we have that weekly supply, which is 354, to 387. Let's move on to the next stock, Axis Bank. Let us see what is on Axis. So on Axis, we are seeing a little bit of consolidation, nothing great on the monthly chart, although you can see that Axis Bank has been the stronger of the stocks based on the monthly chart. This is that price point from where the prices broke the resistance, and maybe now are just trying to take support at this level. Let's go on to the weekly chart. On the weekly chart also there is a lot of consolidation happening. Maybe there is some level of demand on the daily, and again on Axis also prices are just holding on to this level of daily. So again, if Bank Nifty moves up, it might push Axis also to the upside. And let us see if there are any key levels of supply on Axis. No, not really. I mean, there's nothing great on Axis. Again, just like how we have a level on Canara Bank, we have a potential level of demand on Axis. So in case if the market does give a pullback, 913 to 909 will be a level to watch out for. And maybe on the smaller time frames there could be some level over here. So this is the level to watch out for in case some of you who are intraday traders and want a quick move. 943 to 946. If prices do get into this area, we would expect to see a fall coming into Axis Bank, and 913909 is going to be the level of demand. Let's look at one more stock, which is Tata Communications. So that's also announcing its results tomorrow. So let's look at Tata Communications. And on the basis of the monthly chart, Tata Communication has taken a nice bounce from this monthly level of demand, and now again it's inching up. So without a doubt, generally when price bounces from a monthly level of demand, it has the tendency to move towards the opposing level, which is the supply level. So let's look at the opposing level right now, and here we see that there is this level of supply. So it'll be interesting to find out what does the price do once it comes to 1475. So traders and investors, just be a little careful on Tata Communications, because we are coming very, very close to a strong weekly supply, 1475 to 1589. Now let's move on to the intraday perspective, and let's gauge some of the levels for intraday. And again, if you look at some of the key levels here, we do have a level of demand here, that is this rally base rally. In fact, there are two levels here, so we'll map out both these levels, drop base rally and rally base rally. 1235 to 1221, 1211 to 1187. These are going to be some of the key levels of demand on Tata Communication, and the level of supply to watch out for will be the weekly supply. So I wouldn't want to be shorting Tata Communication unless and until price comes closer to that 1475 odd level. We do have a level of supply here, but this is purely going to be an intraday level, right? So don't try to go with a heavy position size or a big position size. 1386 to 1391 will be a level to watch out for. This is a gap level, and it's a pretty decent level, but again, Tata Communication still has some room to move to the upside, so it might just take a little bit of help of demand and then start moving to the upside. If it doesn't, then these are the two key levels of demand to watch out for, and 1235, 1221 and 1211 to 1187. Alright, so this is the analysis for this week. I hope you enjoyed this analysis. We keep on trying and innovating, and try and bring you the analysis in a much better way. This time we have probably brought in the earnings perspective into play. So I hope you enjoyed this analysis, and if you do like our channel, please hit the subscription button and do become a member of our channel to see such videos and many more such videos like these going forward. I wish you all the very best for trading. Trade safe and watch out for the union budget, which is going to be coming up soon. Happy trading to all of you all, and see you all next week. Thank you. Bye bye.
This should not be treated as a recommendation. Please conduct your own analysis or consult a financial advisor before investing.